Welcome to Pushing Through, where we show mothers and their daughters how to connect, engage, and have fun. Mamas, your responsibility to nurture the relationship with your daughter does not stop at age 18. I'm Nicole.
I'm Andrea.
Today we're going to talk about quarter life crisis. You might be thinking, what the hell is quarter life crisis? You know what quarter life crisis is?
When you're having a crisis in the quarter of your life? 25.
Yes. You know, you already knew the answer.
Just say it in the title.
Well, some people don't know. So let me tell you why we're talking about this today. Maybe a month or so ago, I was asked to present at a mini conference on quarter life crisis. And I was like, what's quarter life crisis? And when they explained it, like she just said, oh, you know, between the ages of about 25 to about 30, when, you know, there's anxiety and worry about where you are in your life, blah, blah, blah. I was like, sign me up. Let me do that presentation because I can talk about that. And so I printed out some of the slides, and we're going to use them as talking points for today's episode. I want to bring in Andrea because I did this presentation. It was only 20 minutes, and I had to pack a lot in. We ain't gonna sit here and talk with y'all for 20 minutes, y'all. But I just want to bring this to your attention because since our show is focused on adult daughters and their parents, want to make sure that you're checking in with your kids to make sure that they're okay, because there's a lot going on with this pandemic that has changed a lot of things and has created some anxiety, some fear, some worry about sort of next steps in their lives. So, all right. So, as she said, it is really about anxiety over the direction and quality of one's life. So imagine you being 20 or 19 and I'm going to go to college, and then I'm going to get married, and then I'm going to get a job, and then I'm going to have kids. So you know, at that age, a lot of people start to map these things out and have these expectations. And then when stuff happens that doesn't quite match up with that, there can be some anxiety around that, right? Like, well, I mean, I'm going to go do these things, and then the pandemic happens and everything shuts down. It's like, oh, see, baby, y'all playing with my earrings right now. You know, as black women, we need our hoops, and they need to be correct. So hold on, please hold. Oh Lord. And of course it ain't going. Okay, there you go. I'm like, stop playing. Okay. Back to what I was saying. And so quarter life crisis really is from the mid 20s to mid 30s. So you can be 32, 33 having a quarter life crisis. Insecurity, doubt, disappointment surrounding career, relationships, and finances is really sort of the core of that. Now, you are in your quarter life. You actually just turned 25. Mm-hmm. So any of that resonate with you? This disappointment, insecurity, doubt, any of that has that bubbled up for you? Or even not even just you, your friends? Is that something that's a topic of discussion?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's turn this page.
24/7.
24/7?
Yeah. It's always a problem.
Do you think it was because of the pandemic, or do you think it was already something that you were concerned about?
Probably already.
And it did
before the pandemic, and then the pandemic made it worse. And then yeah.
Because it's a lot of uncertainty, right? Like a lot of, you know, you were working, and then they were like, well, they didn't shut down. You were actually still going to work. And I was like, you was a preemie, and you probably need to come home because
that's what happened. They said that you can decide that you don't want to come in, but you know, you're not going to be paid. And I decided that's fine. And I didn't go to work. Right. And then they laid me and Norman off actually while we were on our little vacation. Well, it wasn't a vacation, but it was like a leave because we were you know, both kind of breathing issues, so we're just gonna stay home. Yeah, and both got, you know, laid off.
And I think that just kind of was like the first ooh, and then everything shut down, and then it's like, what are we doing? So some symptoms of quarter life crisis, I'm going to read them to you so you can, you know, check in with your kids, right? Call your kids. We already did the episode about why the parent, you know, your kids ain't calling you, but parents, call your kids. They may be feeling lost, scared, or confused on what to do next, what steps to take. Stress and anxiety, unemployment, or choosing a career path could be key drivers to stress and anxiety. Isolation and loneliness, I think, again, exacerbated by the pandemic. We all had to social distance. So there's also, on top of that, leaving home and navigating life without parental support can also be a source of isolation and loneliness. And then, as I put here, the pandemic exacerbates that social isolation, the fear and the uncertainty. So, I mean, I think these are very real things to be aware of with your kids, to check in with them to make sure they're okay. And then, like in my situation, I said, look, just come home, right? Like, just come home and we gonna figure this out. Like, I'm here already, I'm working from home, just come back to the house and we will figure this out now. And so here's the thing, implications for Black women. We are already in a high risk group for everything. Okay, you know, they say black don't crack, and that may be true on the outside, but the inside is not, it doesn't follow on the inside. We may look good on the outside, but we're actually falling apart on the inside. So we already have high blood pressure, high rates of diabetes, high rates of chronic disease, lupus. We have a lot of things already that we deal with as Black women just by being Black in the United States. Is freaking stressful. So then if you add on something like a quarter life crisis, it kind of increases your likelihood of things like anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, social isolation. And this is where self-care becomes important, because we are used to being super women and just kind of pushing through. And I know that's the title of my book, Pushing Through. And in some ways, pushing through can be a bad thing. You don't just keep, you know, running through life like a train. Like, you got to slow down sometimes and take care of yourselves. So again, adult parents, check in on your kids. Make sure they're okay. Are you okay? Is everything all right? How's life going? Don't be calling your kids, yelling at them all the time about stuff. Like, there are real things that are happening for them that we have not had to experience. I probably did have a quarter life crisis, though. I probably did. But it was probably a different kind of crisis. This is different with this pandemic. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that as well, as you yawn.
You know, obviously I don't like speaking on it much, but it's just, yeah, it's a thing. And it's like this whole cycle of, like, you know, they say self-care is good, but self-care isn't always free or cheap. So it's like, you know, I can't do self-care because I have to go and work to make some money. And of course, because the jobs are hard to come by, well, the jobs that I might want are hard to come by unless I want to go work in somebody's food place. You know, I've got to go find work. And for most people, it's gig work, which is tiring stressful in itself.
Yeah.
And then you go and do that. You come back and you're depleted and tired. So all you want to do is go to sleep. And then when you wake up, you have to go back and work. So self-care is non-existent, or you can't afford it. Because that's where it is for me. Like, the biggest thing is like, dang, I can't get my lashes done anymore. I can't get my hair retwisted. I thought the locks was gonna be low maintenance, but I can't take care of it myself. So it's so much, and it's just like really upsetting, because it's like, you don't have that sense of normalcy at all. Like, I used to take trips because trips made me feel better. Yeah. Can't take trips because I can't afford a trip. So yeah. It's really sad.
It's a lot.
It's sad.
It's definitely a lot. And I think it's important, again, to your point, self-care can be expensive, but the other solutions are to find a circle of friends, to have a support group, have people that you can talk to. So let's talk through the solutions then, because you're right. That self-care, in a sense, can be a barrier. Like, yes, we should take care of ourselves. We should do these things. But to a lot of people, self-care is going to the spa, going to the gym, going here. But who got that? We ain't got it, right? So we have to find ways to create that for ourselves. So I have some suggestions for self-care: journaling, rest, so that's sleep. Hey, okay. Travel, and sometimes travel might be a drive up PCH, but then gasoline is expensive.
That's what I said. Right? I was like, well, I'll just get in the car and drive. Nope. Gotta save the gas.
Even I was like, shit, I ain't doing that either. Exercise could be stretching, yoga, therapy, a lifestyle coach, whatever it is, you know, find something that you enjoy and do it. The other thing is sharing your story. And Andrea did a little bit of that here, which I actually appreciate very much, because she didn't have to, and she didn't go into detail, and that's fine. But it's enough, I think, of being transparent that other people can say, damn, that's me. Like, that's happening to me too. Oh my gosh, I thought it was just me. Now, oh wow, let me figure something out. So sometimes sharing your story can be liberating and can help create your social circle, can get you around people that also have a shared experience. It can also help to reduce some of that anxiety. Advocacy and community work. Sometimes if you want to forget your problems, you can help other people with their problems. You can help volunteer somewhere. Sometimes that's helpful. It just depends. And then creating social circles, finding other women, not just your peers. Sometimes it's older women that can help support you and guide you. Again, this pandemic is unprecedented. We have never seen anything like this before. And I think it's been a primary driver of this quarter life crisis that we're seeing. And I'll end with this. Caring for myself is not self-indulgent. It is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare. And that's Audre Lorde. And I think that's a reminder for all of us as well, that me taking care of myself, her taking care of herself is not self-indulgent. Oh, it's really like, this is about keeping myself alive, and such an important thing. And so I think that's really it. And I just want to hear what you all are thinking about this. Is this something you've heard of before? Have you heard of quarter life crisis? Do you think our young people are more vulnerable to it because of the pandemic? Let us know, and if I can put together some resources, I'll do that. And also, let's have a conversation, because again, she's 25. Some of you may have some children, adult children in their 20s. Maybe we can try to put together a resource guide or some sort of way that they can get together and kind of share their resources and things. But I think this is a really, really important conversation. And again, I thank you, because you didn't have to say anything about this, but I thought that this was such a relevant topic. I've lived through my quarter life. She's in it, and we're in a pandemic, that we need to kind of bring this up to the forefront, especially because our Black children are the ones that bear the burden of a lot of stuff that happens. They're the first to get fired when stuff go down and jobs are cut, right? And are the last to have access to those resources like self-care strategies and all the other things that are needed for them. So we got to advocate for our folks over and above, because ain't nobody else gonna do it. Okay. And so thank you all for watching, and let's get in the chat, in the comments, and let's have a conversation and see what we can do to get some stuff moving and going along for our young folks. All right, Andrea, take us out.
Thank you so much for watching. Catch us every first, third, and fourth Thursday at 6 p.m. local time on Pyro Media Network.
And remember, mamas, love on your babies, no matter how old they are. Hey, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.